Okay, we're back. Slight computer glitch. So technology glitch, but we're back. Okay, so the last thing we touched on was the school could still do better. They did make improvements to try to protect the community with their new policy. Kudos to them, but we do think they could do better. In light of this topic, Kevin, like what would you advise to parents in that school district, or maybe even any school district where they don't have an awareness if they're sending their kids to an event and like all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I haven't checked the sex offender registry, in my area, right? Like, is that something I should do? Should I have an awareness prior to sending my kids to school events that maybe there's other adults that are, like other males that have offenses against, and that I need to protect them? Like, I'm kind of like blown away. I hadn't thought about this.
Yeah. Well, first of all, everybody needs to know that if somebody's convicted of a crime, any crime, um, it's public information. So these, the school, the offender, nobody has the right to block you from knowing this information, which is another reason that it pisses me off that the school didn't notify parents because it's public information.
Yeah,
So
true.
the school very easily could have told this guy, like, hey, that's understandable. You want to come to the dance. That's great. We're willing to give you the opportunity, but it's public information. We do feel that the parents need to know this. Um, so you absolutely have the right to look this information up. Um, the sex offender registry will have anybody who is currently registered as a sex offender. Um, you can find that at the Kansas Bureau of Investigation's website. They have a sex offender search, and you can do it by map. You can do it by your area. You can do it by city, etc. Or name if you know somebody specifically and you want to see where they live. Right, you can do that. But yeah, I would do. I tell people this all the time. You have to do your own due diligence because you can't rely on other people to protect your children. So, unfortunately, and this is a great example of it, you're going to have to do the research on your own. You're going to have to contact the school and say, hey, there's a school dance coming up. Last time you guys let a sex offender go. What's the status on this one? Because if there's a sex offender attending, we all want to know about it. Because you have a right to know that, right? You should be able to say, that's important information for the safety of my children. So if I lived in that district, I would be checking the sex offender registry to see who in that area is a registered sex offender, and who could potentially have children that attend the school. And again, that's not to treat the children any differently, right? I mean, they didn't do anything wrong. But it is knowledge that you should have. And you need to be contacting the school. I would be contacting Blue Valley and complaining about the way this one was handled. And then for future events, I would be calling the school and I'd be in their ear and basically saying, hey, there are consequences to your actions also. And one of those consequences is now I'm going to call you before every event and make sure there's not a sex offender attending.
Hmm.
So that would be my recommendation. I think those are both very easy things parents can do, and it'll give you the information you need to make an informed decision on whether or not to send your child.
Yeah, I mean, again, the theme here and that we are consistently saying is advocate, advocate, advocate. Educate yourself, advocate for your children's safety because, like you said it perfectly. We're their parents. Like,
Yep.
nobody else is going to protect them more than we are. And that's kind of one of our jobs, right? So we have to advocate for their protection and their safety. And sadly, even with schools, I don't think anybody from the school intends to harm the kid, but
No.
sometimes trying their hope to stay neutral does not. There's consequences to that, right? And that is
Yep.
potentially like leading to the, I don't know, I guess the potential putting kids at risk and
Yeah.
in front of a predator, and parents should be notified. So I think that's a really good idea, checking the sex offender list, checking it by your zip code in your neighborhood, and then you can expand it to a broader area or range around your school area or within 5 miles of your school or whatever. So
Yep.
that's a great idea. Any other things that you would recommend from to conclude and wrap up today?
No, just make your voice heard. Unfortunately, it's not just school systems that we're seeing stuff like this in. It's the criminal justice system in general. It's law enforcement agencies. It's city governments. These types of crimes are being treated more lightly than they have in the past. And there's a lot of initiatives to continue to downplay these kinds of crimes, changing, the verbiage from pedophile and child molester to something like minor attracted person, and stuff like that, where they're just
Yeah.
trying to make it to where it doesn't seem as extreme or as big of a deal. And so parents they need to be making their voices heard, that these types of changes and these types of policies, not just at schools, but in all levels of our government and justice system, it's unacceptable, because our kids should be the most secure, the most protected population that we have.
Right. Right. And I would also encourage parents to band together, right? Individual voices are important, but if you kind of create a community of people or an organization of people who are coming together, and, multiple voices are going to be louder than just one. So
Yep.
create a community around your efforts, and you will be probably more powerful and more impactful. But don't give up. Listen to that intuition, that mom gut, that dad gut, that this isn't right. And so you have a right to speak up for the protection of your children.
Amen.
So, yeah. All right, Kevin, thank you for your time today. We appreciate you guys being here, listening to us. Thank you for all your knowledge and your wisdom, Kevin, and your expertise. It's really, really helpful for all of us. And if you have questions or comments, please post below or ask us or send us a message. We'd love to talk on a topic that you might find important or you want to know more information about, or if you have questions. But go ahead and please share this podcast with somebody we know somebody will benefit from it. So thank you for joining us today. All right. Thanks,
Thank you.
Kevin.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.